So let's say that Cyberpunk 2077 gets updated, it's fixed, it's working, we get the free DLC and the expansions. But what is going to be happening with Cyberpunk as a franchise for the next 5 years? So today's headline is as follows. It says, it is very clear Cyberpunk 2077 has a long-term GTA Online plan. We're going to be diving into what this means exactly for the franchise and what we could expect in the immediate and long-term future for this game series. Plus, also, we're going to be taking a look at this Cyberpunk 2077 third-person camera mod improved with corrected arms. So they're making strides with improving that third-person camera mod. Again, hopefully we see something official released for the game where we do get a third-person perspective as well, at least in cutscenes. You know, that'd be pretty cool. But hey, everyone, what's happening? Hope you're doing good. Overworld Games here, and let's dive straight into the latest news about Cyberpunk 2077. So, remember, sound off in the comments down below because I'm going to go over your top comments in every video I do. So let's begin right now with this article right here from Forbes by Paul Tassi. It goes on to say the following: Cyberpunk 2077 is unquestionably the strangest video game story of the year. It's a disaster. It's actually too neat a bow on how things have played out, as it's more complicated than that. Yes, the game performed so badly on Western consoles, it's now actually inspiring lawsuits and even other versions. The amount of bugs present would make Bethesda blush, that is for sure. And yet, I can see how the worm is turning. After all the T-poses and no pants glitches, I'm seeing a lot of people discuss the game itself, and many genuinely like it a lot. And in terms of it being a failure, well, even after refunds, Cyberpunk has already sold 13 million copies, making it one of the fastest selling games ever. And I'm sure that number is about to jump after Christmas. A financial failure. This is not, no matter what CD Projekt RED stock price is doing, because of the launch issues and their poor response. It's actually true. This game has succeeded with the initial sales figures, and of course it has died off significantly, especially on consoles, and the concurrent player count on Steam and elsewhere has dropped also significantly. But a lot of you have indicated that, hey, you're waiting for those updates. But this means that CD Projekt RED, as well as investors, might actually believe in the Cyberpunk brand despite the issues. Now, furthermore, the article says this: but while it's clear, CD Projekt RED will spend the next few months at least fixing what's broken and unfinished about the game, with big patches already announced for January and February, I want to look further down the road. No, not the free DLC promised next year, which, if that's Witcher 3 level, should be relatively minor additions, and not pay DLC later, which will be more meatier. Though if we ever see something on the scale of Blood and Wine, again, I'd be surprised. So yeah, they said, they did quote and say that, yeah, expect DLC to be as big as The Witcher 3, so we'll see what that means. It says, no, I'm rather talking about CD Projekt RED's announced multiplayer for Cyberpunk 2077, something they said would take place in Night City, but would be a separate experience from the main campaign. And the more I've played Cyberpunk 2077, the more I understand exactly what they're doing. So, honestly, I think they wanted this game, Cyberpunk, the initial release, to have multiplayer, given that data miners did find code in the actual game itself referring to multiplayer being developed. So I personally think that's partly why the game launched in the state that it did. I theorize that they were working on multiplayer simultaneously while trying to work on the Cyberpunk single player. But yes, it looks like they are very, very interested in doing multiplayer in the long-term future for Cyberpunk, because, like the article says right here, it's GTA Online. They're trying to do a GTA Online. It is, of course, hard to blame them. GTA Online is a money printing machine for Rockstar, and while maybe the reason GTA 6 never seems like it's going to arrive, it has also helped turn GTA 5 into the best-selling major release of all time, and the online component alone has generated billions in revenue from its microtransactions. So what has been confirmed about the Cyberpunk multiplayer experience is, yes, there will be microtransactions. They're going to say that, they're going to make it fair. They've been quoted saying that. But We'll see what happens. They've already told a lot of stuff to us that did not come true with Cyberpunk 2077. But again, their long-term approach with Cyberpunk, despite us getting post-launch content for Cyberpunk 2077 in terms of free DLC and the expansions, it's going to be multiplayer. At least that's what it seems like. Now, a lot of the files that, again, were data mined for multiplayer did actually sound fascinating. Don't get me wrong. They plan to do heist and that sort of thing. But you got to remember, they really want to have that GTA Online type money rolling in for the long-term approach for this franchise. Now, let's keep going into this article right now. It says here, playing Cyberpunk, you can obviously see the framework in place. The pricey guns, outfits, cars are all there. There are the bare bones of races, robberies, assassinations, and other GTA Online style activities. Hell, even photo mode keeps producing shots that literally look like they could be pulled from GTA Online. The groundwork is all laid, and really the only major thing to add is the inevitable PvP component. The difference being Cyberpunk is all FPS all the time with no third-person option. So another reason I personally think they went with first person with this game, honestly, is because they can make something that feels good in first person. At least they hope to accomplish that, and potentially also mirror GTA Online and Destiny in this game. Now, I got a question for you all. If they do end up doing this Cyberpunk multiplayer successfully, what would you actually like to see from it? Would you like to see a more PvP-centric approach or PvE? Sound off. My opinion, I would personally love to see a really good PvE experience first and foremost, where it's about co-op, going out there and battling bosses and that sort of thing. Now, it goes on to say this, believe me when I say this is the end game, and when it arrives, it will be full of all manner of new CD Projekt RED based controversies, I'm sure. You know, I totally agree with that. It says, for instance, the reason that GTA Online is as profitable as it is, boundless microtransactions that pervade every inch of the game, and players that spend hundreds of or even thousands to have all the highest tier stuff. Shark cards are a never-ending debate point for GTA Online, and whatever their equivalent would be in Cyberpunk Online would no doubt cause players to question CD Projekt RED's previously held position of not having obtrusive microtransactions. Granted, I'm bringing up something that CD Projekt RED hasn't even done yet, and yet if the online mode is free and the point is to make money, it's hard to envision a system that does not involve GTA Online style microtransactions, at least at some degree. CD Projekt RED has already lost a lot of reputation points among fans with the state of Cyberpunk 2077 at release. So what's another bridge to cross if it's profitable enough? This is the same thinking that Bethesda has had with Fallout. You guys saw that happen with Fallout 76. So honestly, I do expect this to happen with the Cyberpunk franchise, and perhaps they will keep The Witcher as their single player only franchise in the future. We will see, but yeah, like this article is stating, it's definitely all leading towards a GTA Online infrastructure, in my opinion. Now, to wrap up the article, it says, as was the case with GTA Online, I am less interested in Cyberpunk Online than I would be some substantive single-player DLC for Cyberpunk 2077, something GTA 5 never got. I do believe CD Projekt RED will do both, but I am absolutely expecting a big push to become the next GTA Online by 2022 at the latest. These launch issues will fade, but this game will go through a number of phases, and you can bet Online is the final endgame. Couldn't agree more. So yeah, let me know what you guys make of that one. Again, I really do want to see some single-player content released for this game, for sure. Don't get me wrong. I want like meaty single-player expansions like we saw for The Witcher 3. Now check this out. Cyberpunk third-person camera mod improved with corrected arms. So they've been working on this really cool third-person mod, as you can see right here. Too bad this wasn't in the game originally. It's pretty neat actually, because when you play this mod, it switches back and forth between third and first-person view automatically. So if you whip out your gun, you're in first person, and if you holster it, you go back in third person, which I think is a great way to actually do it, considering that it looks pretty wonky if you're playing in third-person mode in combat. But they're trying to fix it. There have been strides made here. Hopefully they can get it working 100%. We shall see. Now, also, this is another headline here. It says, deadline alert, Bragger, Eagle, and Squire PC reminds investors that a class action lawsuit has been filed against CD Projekt and encourages investors to contact the firm. So, yeah, that deadline is approaching for this, for investors to actually get into this class action lawsuit. And that deadline is February 22nd, 2021, which means that once that closes, they will be able to start up this lawsuit, apparently. Also, a court actually has to approve the lawsuit because class action lawsuits have to be reviewed and assessed and determined if enough parties are involved to actually call a class action lawsuit and go forward. But I'll keep you guys up to date on what happens with that one for sure. Now it's time for your top comments. Remember to leave a comment down below. It can end up right here in the video. So let's do this. I did a video recently called 2 months later, an uncertain future. So sad. All right, let's load in these comments. It says the first rule about gaming is you don't pre-order. The second rule about gaming is you don't pre-order. And this comes from General Grievous. Yeah, that's becoming the new rule, is be careful about pre-ordering, in the future. Ozlee says, everyone talking about the No Man's Sky route, but at this point, they seem to be going the Stadia route. So yeah, that's also true. Now, Neo's Danger says, I find it ironic CD Projekt RED made a game about corporates double-crossing their consumers while they did the exact same thing. It's really freaking weird, isn't it? Now, Blake B says, really? Because I am pretty certain that this entire situation is effed and CD Projekt RED really screwed this up. So a lot of you guys think that the game is unredeemable, I suppose you would say, and that there's no going back with this one, that it's over. And, again, I've been through this many times, and the one game that has managed to make a comeback, one of the few games, is No Man's Sky. Even Anthem hasn't been able to make a comeback. Now, Fallout 76, I've heard that's had massive improvements, but I feel like once the damage is done, the damage is done. So, we'll see what happens. I think it's going to have to take like a whole re-release of this game, honestly, in some sort of definitive edition. So, I will keep you guys in the know if that actually happens. Stay tuned for more Cyberpunk 2077 news and, of course, open world gaming goodness. Thanks for watching, and I will see you all next time. Take care.